Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our national anthem, performed this afternoon by Peter Griffin and his dirt bike.
All right, everybody, welcome back to DMXS Radio. Once again, we're bringing back another fun guest. Always a good time catching up with Austin Forkner. What's up, Austin?
How's it going?
I'm doing awesome. How the hell are you newlywed?
Yeah. I mean, if you ask me, there's no different. If you ask Riley, that's probably, black and white difference. So, but me, I'm like, it's pretty much the same thing.
Dude, in the words of Beyonce, what took you so long to put a ring on it? Yeah, you're stumbling.
For a while, we just haven't ever okay, so the off season time is the time to get married for moto guys.
Understood.
October, September, October, basically.
Yeah.
And most of the months that I've been doing that, I've been coming back from been in serious. Either I started riding again from being hurt in Supercross, and I'm kind of catching up, or I'm still hurt in a way that I can't even, walk down the aisle. So that's kind of been maybe a little bit. Also, just Riley, I don't think really wanted to plan a wedding because obviously it's quite a bit of planning. And this year she was like, "Okay, I'm ready. I guess." I guess.
So did you do a romantic proposal? I mean, how did you get down on one knee on the sunset of a beach? What happened?
Oh yeah, that was a while ago though. That was years ago now.
Okay.
It was, I did a pretty nice little thing. I hired Mike Emery, the photo guy, to take pictures too.
Okay.
So yeah, we have some of those. That was a long time ago though now. But yeah, the wedding was. It was actually really fun. It was
okay.
I had to read my vows in front of people.
Yeah.
Riley made me do that.
Yeah.
I did not want to do that at all. Mainly just because I knew that I would cry reading my vows, and I did. But I don't really cry or show emotion in front of people. Really, that I don't know. So. I think kind of guys in general are like that. So yeah, that was pretty rough. But everything other than that, the wedding was super fun.
What why didn't you memorize your vows? Why'd you have to read them?
I mean, I wrote them the morning of.
Okay. So, waiting to the last minute.
I mean, that's just me though. I'm just always kind of last minute, I show up to the airport right as my flight's boarding. And, run through security. That's just kind of how I am. So, I didn't have time to memorize, but to be fair, she didn't memorize hers either. So I'm not in the doghouse.
Okay, good. Hey, I have to admit, you're one of the professional racer, one of the top riders in the entire world. I saw that little clip of you dancing, and you can't dance. You suck at dancing.
I'm terrible.
Oh my God.
I told her she was debating making me. I don't know if she was ever serious, but at certain points she was hinting at dance classes or something. Even if it was as simple as hey, let's put on a YouTube video and let's dance around in the living room and kind of like practice. But even that's too much. Like, you get what you get with me there. Like, you know, I'll work and I'll try to be, you know, one of the best racers in the world, but I know I'm not a good dancer, so there's no fixing it. And I don't think practice would have made it better. I just would have still just done what I do. So,
you don't think that would have made the vlog if you did a dance class, that wouldn't have made the vlog?
No, it would not have made the vlog. Not enough action, you know, too slow pace.
Yeah.
Maybe, not for wedding songs, I don't believe.
Well, what is cool is I know Riley's been with you through all the ups and downs, and how important is that? I mean, to have such a foundation in your life. I know that you guys are married now. That's awesome, and you've been together for years. But man, that's got to feel good that somebody who's been with you, the highs and the lows. I mean, you've locked that down. Good for you.
Yeah, I mean, that's what a lot of people like. I still see people talk shit about us as a couple every now and then, but like they don't. I mean, not really very many people know like the internal, you know, kind of workings of you know, me and of home life basically. And like, even some of my friends, like I've had friends in the past be like, hey, like I've heard this about Riley. I've heard this about you guys. And then they come and hang out with us. And then they're like, oh, Riley's actually really cool. Yeah. Like she's actually like one of the coolest girls, like of any of our friends, like, or whatever, you know, like that's what a lot of people don't know. And that's just what kind of is pretty apparent as soon as you know, come to the house or see her at the track in a practice day or whatever it is, you know, that's kind of, it's funny that people, I mean, it's kind of the same as everything, just people talking shit or whatever. But that's just, it's funny how many people have said basically the exact words of, oh, Riley is actually really cool, or actually this, or actually that, based on that they heard this or whatever. And it's just, I don't know. There's so many rumors, so many people just talking, and I think it is important for athletes, especially us riders, to have, you know, some sort of a home life. At least I think that's important. Yeah. And somebody that kind of has been there through the ups, through the downs, and can just help you through everything, I guess. I mean, we've pretty much survived. I'm not saying it's been just a wonderful road up to this point. Obviously, there have been bad times between me and Riley, actually. But like, I feel like at this point, just based on the stuff that we've gotten through, you know, together, or I feel like there's, you know, we're not really going to face something that's going to come as a big surprise at this point, you know. Hey,
iron sharpens iron. I mean, you have to go through that to know who you guys really are. So congratulations. That is awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I know that 2023 was supposed to be your redemption year. Let's face it, with this stuff, and it didn't go like you wanted, obviously. But now that you're done, you've gotten through, you've come back, you got back on the track, you got behind the gate again. How would you sum up 2023 now that we hear, you know, coming up on Thanksgiving and the whole thing's in your rearview mirror?
It was good. It wasn't good, but I would say that the recovery ride, like the recovery after, and some of my results at the outdoor nationals. I mean, I was pretty consistently a top 5 guy those last few races. Sure. I mean, I was getting 4th and 5th and right around in that area for the last few races. So I would say in a recovery sense that I recovered pretty well, and I started to get, I mean, a 4th in outdoors for me, because I've been, you know, primarily a supercross guy over the past few years, just because I've been hurt for outdoors. Yeah. 4th in outdoors, like consistently a top 5 guy, I felt like that was pretty good for me. So I was pretty happy and happy that I could run up there with those guys at Budds Creek and just, you know, all that stuff. I was pretty happy that I was pretty happy just with the recovery side of it. I wish I could have raced obviously the last 2 SMX races. If I'm being honest, I don't think I missed much, especially with that middle SMX race. That thing looked absolutely horrible. But I wish I could have raced the last 2, but I kind of tweaked my knee a little bit and needed to give it a little bit of rest. I didn't want to obviously re-irritate or re-aggravate that thing long term. So just took the last couple off, and I mean, I wish I could have done those the last 2, obviously. But other than that, I would think that the year ended good, obviously started catastrophic, but I would say that I'm pretty happy with how it ended as far as results and as far as how I was riding and stuff like that.
And how insane is it? I know Supercross is a little bit different when you jump back in, but how is it when these guys have been racing all year and then the outdoor nationals? I mean, that comes into conditioning. That's a whole different deal than jumping back in with Supercross. How insane is the race pace and your conditioning and where you stand? I mean, you literally, when that gate drops of 40, you have no idea what the hell is going to happen.
Yeah. I don't know. I think for me, it was more like, I know that I should run up there with those guys, and it was just more of like a confidence building back thing. So I got better as I went on, basically, which was kind of just I guess did show me that it was a confidence thing, or maybe it was a fitness thing a little bit, or racing my way back into shape. Maybe it was that a little bit too, but the more I started running up there with those guys and it close to the top 5, like you can just look at results. I almost consistently every race got better until basically the last race. Like I pretty much consistently got better. So
that's all I can ask for.
That was a little bit of racing your way into shape, a little bit of confidence building, whatever. But, yeah, I mean, that went as far as like that went almost picture perfect as far as like a return. Like I literally got better every race. So, yeah, I was pretty stoked on that.
You know, there's a few riders that we defend just wholeheartedly because we know, you know, just like you mentioned, people think they know you and they really don't behind the scenes, and that you get a bunch of shit. And I know you get, you know, some grief online or whatever, but you have overcome. I mean, you've been so close to your championship before injury. You've you know, crashed in the round or two before, you know, even getting started in the race. You've always bounced back, and I don't think you get enough credit for that. But when you're laying on the start straight at Anaheim, that had to be like the biggest challenges of your career, just to hit that mental reset one more time and be like, you know, I can't believe I'm here, but I've got to get back out of this hole.
Yeah, I mean, like it's just, I mean, at this point, like this is just even as of lately, but I've kind of just been maybe talking to myself a little bit about is just like I need to like I'm 25 now. I'm probably around halfway through my racing career, maybe not. Guys are racing older and older now, so who knows? But like I need to have fun riding again. Like I need to make that a priority at this point, and like, because I feel like with all the injuries and stuff, like this is a sport that I grew up loving, and what got me into it was just riding and stuff with my buddies. And I have kind of just from circumstances been kind of forced to hate it at this point. And I don't want to say hate, but like just whenever something breaks you down over and over and over and over again, it's like kind of hard to still, it's like a chick, you know, if she continued to break your heart or do whatever over and over and over again, you're going to start to lose that, you know, love for her or whatever. It's the same thing. It's just the same thing, but just with dirt bikes, like you start to lose that love for the sport. So I'm kind of making it just a mental note this year to try to really have more fun and maybe try to change my perspective a little bit, or my perception of everything a little bit into maybe more so like, just like, because every now and then it's easy to start saying, oh man, you know, this sucks. You know, I got to ride today. This hurts, and I got to go do 30s, and I got to go do this and go do that. But I just need to try to remember though, like that's whenever I was a kid, this is what I wanted to do. This is where I wanted to be at. I'm in the position right now, and did I want more championships? Did I want more? Did I want to be hurt less? I mean, hell yeah, definitely. But when I was a kid, this is where I wanted to be, you know, racing, pro, motocross. I'm doing things that a lot of people would be fortunate to be doing, or a lot of kids come up and say, I want to be like you. When I grew up, I was that same kid. So, I have to remember that. Like, that's what I kept telling myself recently is I have to keep that in mind going into this year, is that, you know, I am very fortunate to be able to do what I do for a living, and it is fun. So remember that and keep it that way, because sometimes I get it like after injuries and stuff. I mean, I'm not like, I understand my way that I understand my perspective. I understand both sides, like of why I started to, you know, like why it's hard to enjoy dirt bikes as much now as it used to be before I was getting hurt and stuff. But then I also like, I need to just try to have more fun. And typically whenever I'm having more fun, I ride better anyway. Like, it's more fun. It seems like less work and more fun. So that's what I'm kind of just reminding myself going into this year, I guess. That's kind of one of the biggest things, trying to just, like.
Well, how do you find the love and passion? Like when you say that, and I know it's a mindset, but like when you look at that dirt bike and you have to go through this recovery process and you have to get back on there, with the off season, all that stuff, the grind's coming up. When you say find the love, find the passion, is it just a mental switch in your mind, or is it literally doing something different, riding the hills, maybe not doing, breaking routines up?
I think that's what I think. I mean, like, I just think back, like my roommate right now in my house, or one of them, Gas is the other one, but
yeah,
my roommate right now is one of my oldest friends. He was my best man at my wedding. We met each other when we were like just gone on 85, and he had a track like an hour away. And so I would go ride there like every Wednesday. And sometimes on the weekends, we would always go to the same, races on the weekends in Missouri or whatever. And then he came down and trained at Rob's. So we were training at Robbie's together. And like, he's like, so he, like, I'm not back to riding yet, obviously, but he's been like, dude, I'm going to start in the next week or two. And he's like, dude, I can't wait till you start riding again. And I'm going to start with a couple weeks of outdoors before I hop on Supercross. And he's like, I can't wait because we're going to go ride outdoors. We can go just have fun, not worry about motos, just ride. I'm like, dude, honestly,
that's perfect.
That sounds so much fun. Like just to go ride and not care about anything. Go ride for 3 laps, pull off. Go ride for 2 more, pull off. Go do a 30. Who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, who cares? Who cares about it? Like, we need those days. Like, I guess I need those days. We literally just watched a video of some dude riding in not Beaumont, but one of the places in Utah, one of those big free ride areas. We just watched a video of that, and that was so much fun.
That's why we do this. That's why I love this. That's why you fell in love with the sport as a kid, because it was that adrenaline. Yeah.
And that's what, like, we just having all of my kind of, I guess, all of my people. I had a big groomsmen, like bridal party, whatever you want to call it. I had a lot of those guys, but it was basically all my friends, like, period, that were in it. But having all those guys, like, I haven't had all of those guys together in like a long time. And just seeing them together, we just literally sat in the house and just went down memory lane. Like, all like not everybody in my, groomsmen party grew up racing and riding together, but almost all of them. Every person I know in my party, I met through moto. I met through motocross. So it's like, we just started taking a trip down memory lane. Oh, you remember these whips whenever Rob had the big Canyon tabletop in or whatever? Yeah. Like, oh, do you remember this day? You remember this? And I was like, dude, like, not all of them were, I'm sure if you flash back, we probably did 30s all day before we did those whips or whatever. So it wasn't great, but just, seeing how much fun, just even how excited about how that we got over watching those videos and stuff was just super.
That's good.
That was just like, man, like, we need to, like, I need to do that more. And like, there's a lot of my friends, they don't even ride anymore because they've gotten hurt or they this or that, or that they were close, but just couldn't quite make it. So that kind of reminded me at the same time, like, look, I'm one of the few people, about the only one in my friend group, and one of the few people just in general that actually has made it and can make a living doing this. And so that's kind of that kind of just reminded me, having everybody here reminded me of those two things. Just like, dang, we need to go have more fun like we used to. And I get it. Not all of my friends ride and stuff, but still, I need to try to enjoy that and go have more fun like that. And then also, I am fortunate to be able to do this. So I need to try to just keep that perspective in mind. Yeah. But I know it's obviously not always going to be like that, but those are kind of two things I'm trying to approach this new year with. So we'll see how it works, but those are kind of,
that's all. Things I'm coming to this year. It's a great way to start, because when you talk about changing the perspective, if you looked at 2019, 20, 21, 22, when you got hurt, I mean, you probably let yourself go to a dark place for a longer period of time than you are now. It's almost like you're telling yourself to nut up, get over this. We got to look forward, because, a couple of years ago, you might have stayed dark for a long time, but it sounds like, this time coming through, that was a lot more brief of a time of you talking about quitting or thinking about quitting, or, that this isn't, you don't even look at a bike again.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what right now I'm thinking, wow, I'm coming back. So I want to come back and I want to ride again. Not, okay, it's about to start, like season's about to start. Like, okay, like the free ride, the chill days are over, obviously. Like, okay, like it's time to work. I'm not really approaching it with that mindset, more so just sick. I get to ride again. Like I get to ride again, not I have to ride again sort of thing, or I have to do motos and now it's time to get serious or whatever. Like I'm not really approaching it with that mindset. I'm kind of just coming in as like, yes, I get to ride again. I want to ride my dirt bike again. I want to go have fun again. I want to do this and that. So I think that even though through the Supercross season, even though through this preseason or whatever, that is kind of, boot camp and is kind of grind time, I do feel like I still need to take, a few days out of, the month or whatever, just to go and
chill. Yep.
And go ride Paris night practice or something on my Supercross bike. Cause Paris night track is like still pretty Supercross. Like it's just a tight little night track that Supercross bike is. So let's go to Wednesday night Paris night practice with me and some buddies, and let's go ride. And cause I like Tony, my mechanic, he rides every now and then. Hey, let's go, let's bring Adrian, let's bring gas, let's film, and let's just have a chill night. Like, let's just do that every now and then to keep things fun, just to take maybe the pressure off and to just relax a little bit every now and then. I feel like sometimes this sport, everything, we take it just too seriously sometimes. Like, I feel like there needs to be some fun involved a little bit, I feel like. But I mean, that's just me. But maybe that is just me. Like, I'm speaking that I think that that's what I need.
Yeah.
And
that works. If it works, it works.
Yeah. I mean, that's what one, I think it was Bud's Creek actually this year that week, we really didn't do much. I did like 130 during the week. I went out to Rhinos. We just kind of cruised and did kind of whatever. And then I had a good Bud's Creek, and I came back and Rhino was like, well, I guess maybe you are one of the guys that needs to have a little bit more fun. Cause like everybody's different. Like some guys, they got to work every day. They got to do motos every day. Like maybe some guys that don't have quite as much natural talent, they have to work more and work harder. And I mean, I feel like I have a decent amount of natural talent. So I think it's more, I still need to get my laps and I still need to do what I need to do, but I still need to remember to have fun, because if I have fun, it doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like I want to go ride. And that's kind of what Rhino, and that's what like Rob's known that after training me for years too. But that's what Rhino kind of figured out after that weekend, was like, okay, like you're one of the guys that you need a little bit more fun and a little bit, more relaxed than just grind, work, push, during the week. So I mean, everybody's different. That's kind of how I'm approaching this year, though, I guess.
When you talk about getting over stuff and moving forward, I mean, you have to make a conscious decision to like put quitting out of your mind. Like that can't even go there if you got hurt again or whatever. Have you decided, hey, I'm not even going to have the mental, anguish of having to go through saying I'm done with this. Now it's almost like
for sure. That's past. I'm past that now. Like that was a few injuries ago, maybe a year or two ago. That was kind of, it popped into my mind after a number of kind of repeated injuries. And then it was last year or the year before that or something that I just had to be like, look, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not going to do that. Like, okay, even if one of these days I am going to quit racing pro, that's inevitable. That's going to happen. But what am I going to do after I quit racing pro? Probably exactly what I've been telling you about this whole phone call, and go ride a bunch just for fun with my buddies. So even if I quit racing pro, I'm still going to keep riding dirt bikes. Like that's like the funnest thing that I know of doing. Like that's what's the funnest thing you can do? Well, it's probably going something with a dirt bike. That's pretty much what me and all my friends, that's why we're friends. Yeah. We all think that's like the funnest thing to do. So even if I don't race pro anymore, which that's going to happen one of these days. I mean, but that's, I'm still going to ride dirt bikes, and I'm still going to do something within the industry. That's just the reality of it, because that's kind of just all I know. And that's, I couldn't do a normal 9 to 5 at this point. Like, no. The closest I could get to a normal 9 to 5 would still be something dirt bike related, selling dirt, cycle shop stuff, something. It would still be something dirt bike related, but that's down the road, obviously. Yeah. But, I mean, that's kind of what I was just like, even every time I get hurt, I still want to ride dirt bikes, whether it's race or just ride. I still want to ride dirt bikes. So, that's kind of just remembering the perspective thing. It's all kind of connected in a way, but yeah, that's, yeah.
What have you learned about in your career about the pressure you put on yourself versus like your team and sponsors? I know as soon as you go down or you're hurt or you don't get a good result, I know that, you have all this pressure of, Mitch and the team and your sponsors and the fans and family, all of your friends, you don't want to let them down. But then versus, the pressure you put on yourself, how do you balance that?
Yeah. I don't know, I guess. Like I definitely know that like, I know that whenever I get hurt, I'm bummed. Like, obviously, like I'm super sad. And then you think about like your team and stuff too, and that they're disappointed in all the work they did this year. So it honestly, like it makes it worse. Like you think of the people that you let down already being sad for yourself, but then you let down a lot of people too. So that's kind of, yeah, it's tough. It is tough. And still even now, like it's still tough. Like Mitch is still stuck. Mitch, Cowie, they've still stuck behind me, and they're still, this is my last year under my Cowie contract, but they've still stuck it out, and I've extended my contract a couple times, I believe, even through injuries, after injuries, whatever. So, but at the end of the day, I'm doing this for me. I'm trying to be the best that I can do. And then everybody can say, oh, I'm disappointed that you did this. I'm disappointed. And I'm like, yeah, you think you're disappointed? I'm broken,
right?
Like
literally.
Physically, and also broken heart, like broken hearted, but also broken, like bones, whatever, as well. So like, yes, I understand that like nobody could ever tell me anything. I could read the most hateful comments on Instagram. Somebody could just come up and say it straight to my face, whether it be anybody, somebody I don't know. It could be Mitch. It could be anybody. And it's not going to compare to anything I've told myself that I haven't told myself already, basically. So, I'm pretty, I guess, hard on myself or whatever, just in general. So, I mean, it does suck though, whenever that's why being hurt sucks so bad. And what people don't get at this level is that like the pressure that you put on yourself, plus the pressure that people put around you, plus fans, plus just like you feel all that, like all at once. When you're laying on the start straight at the first race in the first turn by yourself with a blown out knee, those are all the things that come just streaming to you all at once. And that's just the reality of it. Like anybody who has been there just knows that's a really, really shitty moment right there. Like it does not get much worse than that as far as like things that I've, like that, that's a pretty low moment right there. So, yeah, I mean, that's just part of it though. You just got to figure it out, I guess, and just be like, okay, I'm, whenever your team can understand that you're trying, but like, you're not just doing all this, like you're trying, like I'm trying, I'm not trying to get hurt. I'm doing all this work preseason so I can try to win races and not get hurt. Sure. So I'm not trying to get hurt. Like, and I'm laying here all busted up, sad too. So like, whenever they can kind of understand that, and like I feel like certain teams maybe need to understand that a little bit more. It's just like, nobody's trying to get hurt, Like I get it. Some guys do work harder than others, whatever. But even regardless, nobody's trying to get hurt. So injury wise, it's going to happen in the sport. It just is. And I mean, whenever you can kind of figure out how to deal with it yourself, and then also, from a team perspective or whatever, I guess that's maybe important if you're going to be kind of on a unfortunate path like I have this career. Those are two pretty important things that just have to you just have to let them figure it out as you go, basically.
What about criticism? What have you learned the last couple of years? I know that you've gotten plenty of hate. You've also gotten tons of support. I know that a lot of people have been behind you, ups and downs regardless. But do you pay attention to that now? Do you read comments? Have you been able to isolate that and compartmentalize and say, hey, that's, I'm not going to let you expend any energy on this?
Well, I mean, actually, as of recently, the comments and stuff that I have read, most of the time have been pretty positive, because I think finally now, like, people are starting to understand me a little bit. And honestly, I think a really big part of it has been, and a bunch of people have told me this, so this is why I think it's a big part, has been our YouTube channel, our
the vlog. Yeah.
YouTube. I think that's been a big part, because people are seeing me well, yeah, I don't talk a whole lot in them, but they're seeing me as just being me, and that I'm not whatever perception of me that they have in their mind, that I'm not like that. And that we film and we do stuff through the injury and while I'm healthy, and we film the lows and we film the highs whenever the lows when I'm pissed off after the races, and the highs after I did whatever, the 4th of Bud's Creek. Oh, that was so good. I was so pumped. Like whatever, like we've filmed through all that basically. And we've showed the beatdown process and the build back up process multiple times now throughout the channel. So I think and I've had multiple people, like even just from Cowie's kind of social media side of things, be like, hey, I just want to let you know that a lot of people like are pretty stoked about that, just because it shows you. It's it's a really genuine version of you. And that's what I feel like lacks in this sport a little bit. You know, I know certain guys that I've heard what they've said on the podium. Oh man, this guy rode a great race. He rode so good out there. You know, I hats off to him, man. He did so good. And then hear what they say later back, wherever. And it's just a completely different thing. And I hate that. I can't stand two-faced people that act one way on the camera and aren't like that in person. So that's whenever we started this, I just told my filmer, I was like, look, do you expect all of our YouTube videos to be super exciting and always in a good mood and hey guys, welcome to the vlog? You know, that's not going to happen, because that's not me. I'm going to have days where I don't really feel like talking because I'm pissed off about how I'm riding that day or whatever the case may be. So that's kind of how we do it. And I feel like that's a pretty genuine way of letting people see who I am. So pretty much everything has been relatively positive lately. Obviously there's a few, but it seems like I have a pretty decent fan base. It's like a good fan base at this point that they'll go after the people who are talking shit. Basically, there's a few people that I see their name pop up. If any time, they must have their post notifications on for whenever somebody comments on my stuff, because they're like, somebody says something mean, they're immediately just snapping on this dude. I don't even got to say anything. These guys are just going off on him. So that's actually pretty sick. Like that's really cool. So, I mean, it's been good lately, I guess, in that way.
Your all fun merch drop video was next level. I really enjoyed that, and you guys putting that together. It told the story of so much. I mean, to me, it hit home because it was a journey of all you've been through and all the shit you get from the outside, all that stuff. So if you guys have not checked out his vlog, make sure you do that, because you will get to know a lot about him and behind the scenes, and Riley and everybody that works on this stuff was very cool. And man, that was like a MTV music video. That was some
pretty
cool
crazy.
Shit.
That was our kind of, that's why we did it, because nobody's really done stuff like that, and we were like, hey, this would be a cool idea. Like musicians do music videos to promote songs or albums or whatever. We were like, this could be cool. We'd make like a pretty really gas use is red, like his super expensive camera. Like we actually rented a studio. We actually did kind of some proper stuff. And the video turned out really sick. So it pretty much turned out exactly how we wanted it to. And then we have obviously our Hope merch line that we dropped, and it's done really good. We're almost sold out of shirts, and everything's done really good in that too. So
beautiful.
That's awesome too. That we now kind of have all fun, and we're kind of into that and doing stuff like that. That's also is stuff that helps keep the sport fun as well. So it's doing different stuff like that. That's awesome. And
your mottos, hope and healing positive energy. I mean, all you've been through, Austin, if anybody needs to know anything about your character, you as a human being, which is always more important than anything on the bike, with all that you have been through, you drop a merch line that talks about hope and positive healing energy. I mean, that to me says all you need to know about you. Who else could be like that and not be negative, not be hating the sport, hating fans, hating dirt bikes? I mean, you flipped the script.
Yeah, that's literally, that was kind of the point and everything. And our whole kind of motto with our merch is our headline is like a dead smiley face, but then it's all fun. Yeah. So it's all fun, but then we're kind of dark themed, but then all fun. We kind of play off of kind of the opposites or whatever, but that's kind of it's super cool. And we were happy with that video. And that song, when that song came out by NF, that kind of really,
it was perfect.
Really
Holy
hit
shit.
home for me whenever I'm an NF fan anyway, but when that song came out, I was like, dang, that hits pretty pretty home for me. Like almost like I played that song so many times when it first came out. And then my roommate Gass, he came up with this idea because I was playing it so much. He was like, what if we did like a word play on hope? And we spent like a month just coming up with some acronyms or whatever, just kind of brainstorming every now and then. But yeah, so we're happy with that. And it's good to have something, other to, hey, maybe one of these days we can build all fun into something that I can do that after, racing, and we can still do YouTube videos and do that a little bit. And that's still, moto related. So, hey, maybe, but we're not really treating it insanely seriously right now. We're kind of just doing it for fun and seeing where it goes. But we've had some good support on it, so that's good.
That's good. I was talking to J Mart when he dropped that picture of his his arm surgery after shattering his wrist, and I said that you got all motocrossers could just go as Frankenstein at Halloween, just put some green paint on because you guys are all scarred up, looking like damn just pieces of humans sewn together.
That's funny. I went to like a little like Halloween party or just something, and there was just this random lady there. She was just an older lady, like super nice. And she must have known somebody must have told her like who I was. She was like, you don't look that torn up to be a motocross guy.
Oh my God.
Those guys got hurt. And I just lifted up my shirt and pulled up my shorts a little bit to show my knees and my scar on my stomach and my collarbone scars. And she was like, oh, okay. Never mind. You can put that back down now. I was like, oh, yeah, okay. It was just funny.
Yeah, you guys could literally all be freaking Frankenstein. That is good. Hey, you changed trainers on and off the bike, moved to Cali full time. That is so much change. Was it exciting or a little bit scary?
Yeah, a little bit scary just because I've never been the biggest fan of California. Period. But
you are your dad.
I'm just making the best of it. I'm just doing my thing. So that kind of is what it is. I've been coming out here on and off, but definitely the summers do. This is my first time spending a whole summer out here. And it was not the greatest. The tracks get pretty beat in the summer when it's hot, and it's not the greatest in the summertime. But I've been out here for Supercross season kind of pretty much for the past few years. Do I still like Oklahoma better? Absolutely, but it is what it is. So that's kind of my outlook on that. As far as Rhino, Rob is always like he's a father figure to me at this point. Like he's
Robbie Raynard,
his career and my career very similar. So if you look at him, some of the fastest, me and him, the fastest guys at times, just get hurt, have unfortunate luck, injury, whatever it is. That's kind of me and him that we're a lot alike. But then again, Rhino's pretty similar to that as well. And we kind of started talking at Paula, and we kind of hit it off. And we kind of, honestly, I really wasn't. I was low key, I guess, looking for a new trainer just because Mitch had mentioned it to me. Hey, you're going to be living out here. You should find somebody out here, and that's Robbie completely understood. He was like, yeah, I get it.
Makes sense.
He can't be out here as much. He has his training facility. He has 3 kids now, so he can't be out here as much. There's literally me and Robbie still talk all the time. But me and Rhino, we started talking at a race, and we kind of, understood each other. He wasn't a weirdo like he's portrayed. So everybody just portrays him as, and he has said some things. Yes, it's a little, but when you start talking to him, actually, he's a pretty normal guy. And I feel like he knows what he's talking about on the bike. And we had a couple of test days. They went really well. And I was like, okay, cool. Let's give it a shot. So, I'm sticking with him this year. And we're going to see if we can, I like Charles off the bike. Charles Dow, he's my off the bike trainer. I really, really like him. So I feel like he's really, really good off the bike knowledge, just as far as like, when to push, when to back off a little bit. I feel like he's really knowledgeable about that. So he's my off the bike trainer. So I feel like I got a good crew going into this year. I guess we'll see what we can do.
Man, there can't be a bigger difference between a laid back Robbie Raynard and freaking the most intense dude in the world, Ryan Hughes. That has to be a huge change.
Their training is pretty opposite. Like Robbie would, I was lucky if I got a you look good coming off the track. I think me and my roommate literally talk about it. Like it's been a handful of times that Rob's like if you got a good job from Rob, you're killing it that day. Like Rob's just calm, cool, collected. Like he knows what he's talking about on the bike too, but it's just he's he's a lot more mellow and laid back. Where Rhino, he could talk all day about one corner. He could talk all day about the inside corner. Oh, but then you got the outside, and this you got to stand up and beat on the he could go on and on and on about that. So he's a lot more vocal than Robbie, but it's not, it's the stuff that he's saying is still knowledgeable. Like, it's still stuff that makes sense. And that's what, whenever I, trained with him for a couple test days, that's what I was like, okay, he knows what he's talking about. He might be crazy. I feel like we're all a little bit crazy, but I feel like he does know what he's talking about as far as training on a dirt bike. So that's why I just was like, yeah, sure, let's give it a shot. And I feel like it's obviously, I feel like it's been pretty well so far.
You pushed really hard to, I think even way ahead of any ACL schedules I've ever seen to get back to racing this summer. I mean, was that always part of the plan to get back as early as you did, or it just worked out rehab that way?
Yeah, no, definitely. I did push really hard to come back from that, or to come back to racing. That's what I didn't want to, miss the whole year. I definitely did not want this whole year to be a bust. So that's why I pushed so hard to come back, because I wanted to come back and I wanted to race and I wanted to, just get my feet wet again. And I felt like I worked hard building up this year, and then it just was over before it even started, basically. So I was fastest in practice. Oh, there's so much, I have so much hope going into this season. And then I was down in the first turn. So that's what I wanted to come back. I made it a point really early on, like in the first week. I was like, okay, I'm going to come back really quick from this. I'm going to do everything I can. I recently I bought a hyperbaric chamber for my house.
Wow.
We have, we have an ice bath, we have a sauna, we have pretty much everything you can have for recovery stuff. So yeah, I've been pushing that hard this year, and if not now that I have all this stuff, probably even harder. Just because I know how important recovery is. If anybody knows it, I feel like it's me. So that's I know how important it is, and I did push pretty hard to come back this year. That I don't know if that was my team's plan for me to come back this year, but that was my plan, and that's what I pushed for, and that's what I ended up doing. I ended up getting some pretty decent results while I was at it. So that was good. Yeah, I'll just say that was really good, and I guess gave me some motivation going into this year.
Well, you turned pro in 16? What are you 25 or 26 now?
Yeah, I was pro at 17, and now I'm 25.
So, 25. All right, so you've been with Cowie since you were 10 or 11 years old. Contracts through next year. So this might be the most important year coming up of your career. I mean, this is your, when you talk about redemption and you're moving up and going forward, would 2024 be the most important in your career to this point?
I mean, it could be. That's what I'm trying not to think about it like that, because I don't want to put any extra pressure on myself than I already, kind of put on myself. So I'm trying not to think of it like that. But I mean, yeah, it very well could be one of the most important years of my career. I like to think that they're all, pretty damn important. I'm not getting any younger. My body definitely doesn't feel any younger at this point. So I like to think that any year that I'm racing, I'm racing pro motocross is pretty important. But this year is pretty important. So yeah, I'm not gonna attack this year a whole crazy lot. I mean, I felt like I came in last year really, really well. And even in practice, I was good, at A1 and everything. So I feel like I came in pretty good last year too, but just didn't really get the chance to show anything or even to learn anything. Like working with Charles, hey, were we doing the right things? Were we not? Obviously now I have a better idea after outdoors, but I was pretty bummed also just from that standpoint, because I was like, look, I changed off the bike trainers, changed up some program things. I'm living in California now. Did any of this work? And it was kind of like, well, I mean, practice really, I could do one fast lap anyway in practice, but just didn't really get to show any of that or kind of test any of that or see. So that was kind of obviously there's a lot of reasons why that was a bummer, but yeah, that was kind of another one of them. But yeah.
You told me in 2022 before the year started, you were going to, kind of manage and do race to race and not look at the big picture and kind of come in. You got cross jumped, you got taken out. It wasn't even your fault. So how do you mitigate how you ride? I mean, excuse me, you can't be too cautious, but you can't hang it out. So 2024, what's your mindset? Race to race, big picture. What are you doing?
That's what's so tough about this sport is it's like how the risk versus reward is always at it kind of at the front of your mind. It's like, what is, and that's what's tough too, is that like sometimes, hey, you may hit a quad, you may take a different line, a line that nobody had taken because it was sketchy, and you make the pass in the lead and you win, and your team's like,
you're awesome.
That was awesome. Everybody's so happy for you. That was great. But the next weekend, the second you do that exact same thing and it doesn't work out,
you're an idiot.
Crash and get hurt. Yeah. Then you're an idiot. And then why did you do that? That was stupid. Why would you so it's just that's just kind of the way it is. Like that's what you might do one thing and it work out and you're a hero. And then you try to do the same exact thing the next weekend. It doesn't work out and you're in the hospital and you're a loser and you're out of a ride or whatever. So that's just the way it goes. And that's what, it's tough to, find that balance. And that's kind of what, I guess going to still try to, obviously I want to be there every race. I feel like that if I can be there every race, I'm going to be a championship guy. That's what I feel like anyway. I feel like if I can be up there every race, that I should be consistently up at the front, which then would mean if I make every race that I should be a championship contender, whether I'm in first, whether I'm second, whatever. I should be up at the front. So that's obviously my goal, but at the same time, I do have to keep in mind that, just getting second every race isn't going to do it. So there's that side. That's a tough. I feel like when you start thinking about that too much, you get spun out. So I try not to think about that too much because I feel like it's easy to be like, okay, well, what if this situation presents itself? How am I going to react in this situation? And you can't prepare for everything. Like a lot of things you just have to react on. That's just the part of like, you have to think about it, then react to it. It's too late. You should just react to it as a rider and do whatever comes natural. Yeah. Sometimes those things that you just do in the moment don't work out. And sometimes they do and you win and you're a hero and everybody loves you. And other times they don't. You just got to, I guess, approach the season with that mentality. Just like, hey, if it feels right, if it feels good, like if it feels like you can do this or you just go based off of feeling. That's kind of all dirt biking is anyway. Like you ask a lot of guys how much they actually think on the racetrack. They probably won't say that they think much at all. Like it's just all based on reaction. There's not really an action. It's just reaction to everything. You get a little buck off a jump. Okay. You give it some gas, you get over, try to bring the front end up, and nothing is really,
you don't even remember that. You just do it. It's instinct. Exactly. Yeah, it's reflex. I've always kind of said that dirt bikes are like horses. If they sense fear, if they think that they're just going to throw you. It's like So if you're thinking about, and you guys make dozens and hundreds of decisions, split second decisions throughout the night. Yep. So I mean, if you try to minimize and break that down, you're already 2 turns past where you just made that decision. I mean, you're already in your own head.
Yeah. And that's just why I always say like dirt biking is like motocross is the toughest sport in the world. Like in my opinion, and I'm probably biased, but if you break down all of the things like that, like from a fitness standpoint, from a just brutality standpoint, from a you lack of protection, like we honestly do not have much protection for riding, 200-300-pound dirt bikes and jumping sometimes 120-foot jumps a lap at some of those outdoor races every lap. Like we're doing that every lap. So like, I think that, cars and racing like that, they go faster, but they also have a lot more protection. Mm-hmm. And, I think this is the most brutal sport and also the toughest at the same time. So that's all the things that we were just talking about. That just all goes into it. It's like, that's, I guess what being good at the sport takes is figuring out all that. And I mean, I'm not the master of all that, I guess. That's why I'm, that's why maybe I've been struggling. I don't know, but that is really hard to master all those things. And just because you master it one year or one race or whatever does not mean that that all those things are going to apply to the next race, different dirt, different terrain, to different everything. So, that's why dirt biking's gnarly, but
You need to bring back,
it.
yeah. You need to bring back the Fox kidney belt and the Fox full padded chest protector with the padded shoulders.
Oh man, I need to leave even when I was like, I didn't have any. I was wearing mismatched gear when I was like 5 or 6, but I still knew when you got the chest protector, you cut like the elbow guards off. I would cut like those elbow guards. I would cut those off. But maybe that's what I'm lacking. Maybe I need to bring the chest protectors. The big ass chest protectors and run the elbow guards. Not cut those things off. Just accept them. Just welcome it.
Hey, they're there for a reason, dude. They're there for a reason.
I haven't had an elbow injury, knock on wood, but they damn sure protect them,
I'm telling you. That's awesome. Hey, I know that 2023, I know everything has been pushed back because of your injuries. I hate people ask you, hey, you should have been on a 450 by now. It's like, dude, I've been, I haven't raced. I've raced 5 races in 3 years. But what would be a successful year for 2024 for Austin Forkner? What would, looking at it, 250s out, Supercross and outdoors, what would be a successful year for you getting at this point next year?
I mean, I could look at it in a bunch of different ways. I could say a successful year is making every race, whether that's, 5th at every race, first at every race. I would say making every race is successful there. I could say that winning even one race or multiple races, that's also successful. And obviously, I mean, a championship's going to be successful no matter how you go about getting it. But I could say any of those 3 would be considered a successful year. So yeah, I guess that I would say that. And yeah, maybe that's what I'm at the age now where I'm getting older for a 250 class, but I would still be maybe not young in a 450 class, but still I'm not I'm not that old. I'm 25. So I feel like I could go either way this year, and Callie wants me to stay on at 250. So, so be it. I'm going back to that. I'm still getting paid to race pro motocross. I'm still getting paid to ride my dirt bike. So if Callie wants me to ride at 250, sure, why not? I'll ride at 250. I'm not really putting a whole lot of stress on that. Yeah, I could be in the 450 class. And am I ready? Maybe. Will I do even better on a 4? Hey, I could do even better on a 450. But I mean, whatever. That's what Callie wants me to do. So I'm not really. I feel like when you get to kind of, I guess, the results or the injury level that I've had over the past few years, you kind of, whenever you're winning everything, you call the shot. You're like, I want to do this, I want to do that, and the team's like, all right, yeah, why not? But whenever the minute you stop and the minute those results stop, then you kind of throw your hands up in the air and they say, do this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Jump. You say how high. So yeah, exactly. So that's just kind of how it goes. That's kind of where I'm at in the position I'm at. They say, hey, we want you to do this. We're still going to pay you this much. All right. Fair enough. Let's do it.
Well, you have unfinished business on the 250, and I know that you can go back and have all these what ifs and all that stuff. I mean, you should have at least 2 titles now, at least. But looking back, unfinished business for a 250. So for me, this is concentrating and not even having the 450, distraction. I mean, you've got 2 good seasons this in 2024 on unfinished business on a 250 is the way I look at it. Yeah,
exactly. So, that's what I'm saying. I could go either way, but I'll stay in the 250 class this year and see what we can do. Hopefully just get some redemption. Whether that redemption means, like I just said, being there at every race, means a race win, means multiple race wins, means a championship. I'm honestly, I would be happy with any of those, really. Obviously, would I be the most happy with the championship? Yeah, probably. But honestly, even if I won a championship and followed that up with a big injury, I might be just as happy if I'm there at every race. The injuries they're getting pretty old, so I mean, it's just, I guess any of those 3 I would consider a successful year. So let's shoot for at least one of them. That's kind of what I'm going for right now. Let's shoot for all of them better yet. But one of them would be good. So
if you make it to the first turn in the Supercross, you've already done better than 2023.
Hey, just wait. Like whatever first press conference I do, anytime, that's what I've had it in my head. I guess I just missed my opportunity with it. You asking that, but if anybody's like, hey, what is your goal for 2023? Literally,
the first fucking corner.
2024. Literally all I'm gonna say is, well, making it past the first turn at the first race would be nice.
That's awesome, dude. That's
all I'm gonna say from that. That's it. They're gonna. Oh well, what are your actual goals? That's it. That's it. If I do that, hey, I'm already doing better than last year. So let's try that, I guess.
I'm setting the bar. Well, man, Austin, it's always fun to catch up with you. And like I said, your hope and healing positive energy, this message that you have is just another staple to your character. And we will always defend you because there are guys, we've been doing this long enough to know that there are guys that just don't try and that their results are based on that they've given up or that they're whatever. You've always had the heart. You've always had the drive. You've put the work in. Nobody can ever criticize that. Your injury history sucks, but dude, your heart's there. It's always been there. Your talent's been there. Your speed's been there. You're a championship guy. I mean, you've always been that. So for you to bounce back, get up off that ground at Anaheim, get to your point to this where you kick some ass in the outdoors this year, getting ready for 2024. I mean, you've done it again, and you've gotten to this point, and that's why we're fans of you on and off the bike. Is your heart defines you, and I hope a lot of people see that now.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You guys, I always love talking to you guys, and love the show and everything. So yeah, we always have good conversations on here, so I appreciate that. Some people are they're too. They're too industry, and I'm not saying that's such a bad thing, but you gotta, I like when people are real, I like when people are real and you don't just talk about industry things. Like you talk about other things, just life things.
Yeah.
Hey, how are you doing? No, not how did you ride today?
Exactly.
How are you doing? Like that, those are, like, you get a lot of industry questions, So I feel like whenever I talk to you guys, it's more than just industry questions. So even if we start with an industry question, we go off on something else, talking about whatever after that. So
hey,
yeah,
and you can use this too when somebody starts all that shit to say, hey man, I don't always wear a helmet. I wear a helmet, a sixth of the week. I don't wear a helmet a lot of time. I'm somebody else off of a bike, and you being a human being is always the first thing. When I see you, like when you dropped that video after Anaheim, I was crushed. I mean, it was just the saddest thing because I just saw a broken kid and a broken young man, and I just felt for you because you were a human being. I mean, that was not a dirt bike rider. That was Austin Forkner, who we've known since you were before your balls dropped, and it was one of those things. So that's always going to be our priority, and I hope everybody else gets that too. Is before they drop a shitty comment and realize that you guys are humans and you live and breathe and you ride dirt bikes really, really good, but there's a whole lot more to you than that.
Yep, exactly. Well, I mean, that's why I like doing this with you guys, because you get that. So that's okay. That's awesome. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Well, dude, thanks for catching up, man. Good luck in the off season, getting ready, and whatever coast Mitch puts you on. I'm sure that'll be 3 minutes before the gate drops on that coast. But man, we appreciate you. We'll catch up. We always will follow you. And thanks for being on DMXS, man. We love you. Talk to you soon.
Awesome. Yep. See ya.
Thanks, Austin. There we go. Austin Forkner. If you don't like this kid, I know that he gets a lot of hate, and people. He talked a second ago about how people have this perception of Riley, his wife, former girlfriend, and all those stuff that they went through dating. People don't know Austin. They really do think that he's a cocky kid, or that he's whatever it is. And sure, he's had some shitty luck, and sure, he's had some crashes that were his fault. And in 2022, it wasn't his fault. But this kid, I mean, he just has this positive energy. He always bounces back, and you have to admire that. Whether you pull for him on the track or not, you have to admire that he always bounces back. So it's always good to catch up with him. Unfortunately, it's always about a comeback story. So hopefully 2024 is the one that we've all been waiting for the last 3 years. So, hey guys, thanks to our sponsors who make all of this possible. Dunlop Tires, the great folks there. Check them out at Ride Dunlop. Racer X, MX Sports, W Wheels, OGO Concept 2 Rowers. You guys have been amazing for all the years we've been doing this. I'm sorry if I sound like I've got a horrible cold. I don't, but I have been losing my voice a little bit over the last couple of days. So I've got a podcast with Pastrana coming up, and J-Mart as well. So we will have a couple in the can in the next few days. But thanks for listening, and we're back when we're back. DMXS.
DMXS. We're funnier than you, and we know it. So shut your mouth when you're talking to us. It's DMXS.
You listen to us because we are motorcycle guys. You might even call us gurus. We are awesome.
I've been called a lot worse than that, Kevin Kelly.
Yeah, we're the guys. We know everything. I know everything about you. I know everything about movies. I know everything about the space shuttle launches and the crashes. Everything.
And because you turn to us for motorcycle knowledge, we only tell you about what's the best, Kevin, because our spotless reputation that we've built for 16 years is on the line. That's why.
Yeah, and I would not risk my crappy reputation on just anybody. That's why we are telling you about Dunlop tires. It's what we have on our bikes. I have a fleet of motorcycles, and they all have fresh, crispy Dunlops on them. If the pros have them, you know us amateurs are going to have them. They're good enough for them. They got to think they're good enough for us dorks.
Too good for Dunlops? You're a tire snob. We want nothing to do with you.
Yeah, good luck with that. But not just the pros use them. Everyday riders agree, and they have the testing to back it up. You can't beat the quality of Dunlop motorcycle tires.
Let's wrap this bad boy up, Kevin. Whether you're on the dirt, the road, or the track, you can depend on Dunlop. To learn more about their products, visit DunlopMotorcycleTires.com or your local pro dealer. The amateur guys are working their way up. Go to a Dunlop pro dealer. Check them out. We love them. You will too.
Get ready, America, because WUSA is your #1 source for quality wheel sets in America. WUSA offers all the top brands that you and the world's best racers know and trust, like Reed, Dungy, Millsaps, Tickle, Sealy, Short, and more. All rely and trust WUSA, because all our wheels are built right in our shop in Orange, California. And if you want it custom made for your bike, like the world's best freestyle riders, Renner, Deacon, Adams, Madison, Mason, Sherwood, and others, you can choose different spoke and nipple colors for a completely custom look that'll dazzle you. Off-road riding, WUSA can build you wheels for the absolute toughest of conditions. And W also offers DID and Excel rims, along with OEM replacement spoke and nipple kits for your stock hubs. Need brakes? W offers the industry's best oversized and standard brake kits from Galfer and Brembo. Just see your local dealer or visit us at WUSA.com. Hey, you can also download the most current W catalog from the iTunes App Store. WUSA, DUBYA USA. It doesn't get any better than us.